Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother Bolo V&R. Please like and share the video coming in, okay? If you're not familiar with reasoning with Rattigan, I suggest that you guys definitely get familiar with the platform and go and sub up, right? Go and sub up, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of lessons you will learn that will be very, very important to the government not taking you for a fool now and in the future. That program is going into full detail. We're talking about lawyers, we're talking about doctors, we're talking about people that have a heart for the people, right? You understand? And they do a lot of research and all of those things to come back and give us accurate information that we can use for our benefit, like the boring stuff of going through the Constitution and learning it and understanding certain things. What you deem as boring, they took the time out to do it. So here what I think we have to value platforms like that. In my estimate, we definitely do, and we should not just value the platform, we should endorse the platform and support the platform. So it's my recommendation that you guys go over to Reasoning with Rattigan and you know, learn as much as I can. Learn as much as I can. Now, this video that I'm about to share, she's about to give some advice to the people of Jamaica, especially the ones that are in America that was traumatized recently by the fact that Donald Trump got elected. And a lot of people thought that, have this idea that Donald Trump somehow is going to just have a mass deportation of people that are legal in America. Well, she's a lawyer and she's about to explain everything. And the first thing I'm going to play is the last part of the recommendations that she gave to the people that had these concerns. Let's hear this.
By the way, you can reach out to Shernet. That's her number, top 203-572-6748. Call her anytime, day or night. They have an answering service if you call on the weekends or whatever.
Miss Chicago.
She's very good. I turn to her a lot of times.
How you doing, love?
Almost weekly when I have issues, because you never get the easy cases.
Good to see you, Miss Chicago.
A wrinkle. And so even when I do the research, I still call and say, hey, Shernet, what do you think about this? And I trust her judgment because she's never given me bad advice. So there we go.
No, thank you.
What she's about to say is advice to all Jamaicans. Whether you plan to go to the United States, you need to be educated on this. If you're already there, you need to listen to what she's saying. Guys, please like and share the video with 10 people. Let's go.
For having me on. It's been a very pleasure to be on. And I know with the president-elect coming in and he's talking about mass deportation, one of the things that my office did, basically redeveloped was the shield of immigration shield, right? Yes. So as I'm showing it right there, it's just saying that like there's options that are there, which is T visa, VAWA, asylum, or the SIJ, which is a special juvenile status, and U visa. There are other humanitarian efforts other than marriage that are there for people, but people just need to seek out an attorney and see what option that there are, because sometimes, for example, you could be working at a mom and pop store. You hear no papers, but you're working 60 hours and they're only paying you for 40, and they're controlling how much time you get for break and those things. That can be considered trafficking, for labor trafficking. Mm-hmm. So there are different options that are out there. But in this time, instead of being in fear of what President-elect Trump is going to do come January next year, now is the time to get yourself educated, which is important. Get yourself educated, seek out legal options, and start preparing. Now, don't wait until he comes in office to start to prepare. Prepare ahead of time before, so you know what options are there for you.
I think that's excellent advice. More is coming too.
But like I said, it's been a pleasure. I love coming on here because I talk about what I love to talk about, law, and it's always fun to talk with my big friend as usual. But if anyone have any question, you can contact me in my office, 203-572-6748. And that's our
guys. The number she's talking about is literally on the screen at the top right there. So if you're in America and you need her legal advice, 203-572-6748. Okay. All right.
phone number. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Let me just say that somebody just commented. They were saying that there, the grounds under which you can remain in the United States if they try to deport you. There are lots and lots of grounds. We can't cover them in one show. We just have to take it piecemeal. And the only purpose for this show was to say, hey, if you are a naturalized citizen and people are going around telling you that they're going to do mass deportation, don't worry. Go about your business. Be calm.
Don't worry. Go about your business and be calm. Want to hear that? Hey, this is a lawyer speaking. Now listen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless you were involved in fraud. You lied to them. You're a member of the military. You're a member of a subversive group. If you're just a working Joe Blow, working Jane Blow, you have nothing to worry about. Just continue living your life. But there are many grounds that apart from the citizenship piece that you can obtain legal status in the States. I mean, if you're a member of a church, if you're an athlete, if you're a researcher, if you're a business person, if you've been abused, that one you see right there, VAWA, the top right, or to the top where it's the TVs, and then you see VAWA, Violence Against Women's Act. That's a whole conversation in and of itself, because a lot of people don't know that the violence doesn't have to be physical violence.
Yes.
Verbal, mental, can be anything.
Wow.
Right? And for that you can self-file. And if you don't have any money, you can also ask. I don't know if they changed it since they changed the fees, but you could at one point you could ask for a reduction in the fees.
But one of the thing right now with the humanitarian cases like VAWA, T visa, U visa, and SIJ, in April 1st of this year, the immigration, they waived the filing fees for those applications. So they're making it much more affordable in the sense of you don't need to apply for a waiver for the fees, because everything, as long as it's a VAWA, T visa, U visa, and SIJ, everything is free. All the forms are free. There's no only you pay the attorney's fee.
Yeah, because what happened with VAWA, I've had cases where they waived only some of the fees, not the entire amount.
And I need to go get my visa. People talking about what?
Yeah, but now they are waiving everything.
Yeah, and the reason for that, I know the reason for that. The reason for that was because the lady was saying that my client was saying she didn't, her husband abused her, and so she had to find a place, and the community got her a place. And then when immigration checked, the rent was like $3,000 a month for an apartment, and you're like, no, if you can afford this, the community is not paying $3,000 a month for you. For this. You're paying some of this, and you're like, no, we're not going to waive them. But it did waive, some of the fees, but not the entire amount. But folks, we're going to have Shernet on again. But like I'm saying, there's so many avenues for you to establish legal residency in the United States.
Right.
We just need to sit down with an attorney who's qualified, who's an expert in this area, like Shernet.
Yes.
And she'll set you straight. You can't call me, but if you call me, chances are if you have a wrinkle to your case and I haven't seen it, I'm going to ask Shernet.
You see that?
So it's not that we don't want the business. You can call me anyway. But Shernet is, if you have a case that going to be difficult, and believe me, if 6 people call me, 3 of the cases are cases that have some kind of nuance, some wrinkle, something that is like first instance I'm seeing it, and I'm like, wow. So now I have to go do research because I'm like not familiar with this. I've never seen this before. So that's where we are. But Shernet, thanks for coming. We enjoy the pleasure of your company and your information and your experience and your personality. So thanks to you and your family for letting you.
All right, so I wanted to play that part first. Now we're gonna get into the actual details of which she went in on the program. All right, that was just the outro, but I think it was very important to play it from the start because I wanted my Jamaican people to hear that. You hear what the man said? Do not get worried because Donald Trump win, and all of this narrative what they're pushing out there. Listen, it does not work that way. Get educated. All right, but let's continue. Let's hear the meat of the discussion that they had, questions and answers and concerns, which I think a lot of people will learn from this dialogue. All right.
Yes, sir.
How do you pronounce it? Yes, wanna go kill me? How do you pronounce your surname?
Hit on.
Here, all right. I can't pronounce it. So I'm just going to say.
And that's the Hilon.
Yes, there's noise they hit on.
Okay. All right, folks. Shernet is the principal over at Noise and Associates in Connecticut. I keep saying it's Bridgeport, but it's not Bridgeport, right?
No, it's Stratford, but it's a border town to Bridgeport, so everybody always say Bridgeport.
Okay. So what we plan to do, let me just big up Shernet. What we plan for the Shernet is this. People are worried and they're calling me, they're calling my associates, they're calling everybody and say, hey, we'll get kicked out of the country, they're going to take over with green card, they're going to take over with this, they're going to take over with that. Talk to us about that, because I have the regulations here with me. It's titled chapter 12. I have it here and I've gone through it. I went through it this week and I went through it today.
Yeah.
And I have it here in front of me. And it's very specific about how you can denaturalize someone. But what I'd like you to do, Shernet, is talk to us first about deportation for just in a roundabout way. Deportation for illegal immigrant, deportation for green card holder, and denaturalization and deportation for a naturalized citizen.
So one other thing about America and the Constitution is that everybody, once you're in the U.S., you have due process of law. So if you're an illegal immigrant and you get picked up and put in immigration, ICE cannot just deport you unless you already have a prior deportation order. But if it's your first time encountering with them, you have to go. They have to put you through court unless you tell them that I want voluntary departure. I just want to go home. I don't want to be bothered with all of this. That's the only time you can be moved immediately.
I think that's very important to note what she just said. All right, remember that. Okay, due process, gotta go through the courts unless you waive your right and you just want to go back. And then there's other things that she's gonna explain with that process. Let's continue.
And even in that process, your country has to correlate with the government to say, yes, I want this person back in. This is a citizen of our country and they can come back. So a lot of times you hear the myth about, oh, deportation is so easy. You're going to get deported. If they pick you up, they're going to send you home immediately. That's not true.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Yo, y'all better go watch this. Hey, I'm gonna leave the link. Well, this is the last live stream that he did. This was yesterday. Y'all need to go watch it. The entire thing. All right. All lies will be exposed. Facts.
Again, also there's relief for those who are illegal immigrants who's been here. Say you've been here, for example, 10 years, never been in any trouble, no arrest, and you get put in deportation proceedings. You have a relief called cancellation of removal for non-immigrants. So it's you have to know your rights again. So for green card holders, you come in the country, you get arrested, that can put you in deportation. Depends on the crime, it can put you in deportation proceedings. Again, you have due process. You have to go before a court, and they have to give you all the relief that are there for you.
1 second, Trinity. Let me go back to the illegal immigrant, right?
Yeah.
You said that first of all, if you can opt for voluntary departure, which will circumvent the whole legal process. Where if they grab you and you say, listen, you don't have to lock me up or keep me for months on end and send me through court. I just want to go home. That will get you home.
Yes.
Now, what if the question? And then you mentioned that, but your country of residence, your country of record, that they have to say this person is a citizen of, let's say, Jamaica, for example.
Yeah.
So they just
Star girl,
they have to
what's
contact the embassy or the consulate.
Yes.
And let's say you don't have any documentation, but you say, yeah, I'm from Jamaica. Now, what if the Jamaican government, what if the embassy, they say, no, we don't know this person, we're not going to give you the travel documents for this person. What happens at that point?
Then you're pretty much is back in the country, US. They can't put you anywhere because the country that
Maya Brown, good night. Andrew they say all Jamaicans can travel with needs go to America. Why you think them a make it so juicy if you take the needs if that is true? Them a butter you up fi take the mark of the BC. If that is true what you say, Maya, I haven't seen that video yet. But if that is true what you said, all they're doing is buttering up the people to take the needs. Them have to make it attractive. That's what the devil does, You get me? So that should be a red flag for you guys. Why all these years they never make us can go to America with a regular ID? Why all of a sudden this one they're gonna give us the keys to America? Think about it.
that you're claiming citizen of is saying that we don't have no record of this person being born here or any record of citizenship of this person, so we don't want this person. So that's your problem. You have to keep them. So the U.S. really much have to keep this person unless another country will take them.
So you hear what you said a while ago? If somebody is caught over there if you get deported, and Jamaica don't recognize them because they don't have no records of them, America have to keep them, you know. That is the law over there. Them have to keep them because Jamaica is saying, listen, we don't know who this person is and we don't want them. We have no record of this individual. Wow. So this program right here, man. I learned a lot listening to this lady. Salute to Surprise Boat Lake. It's on hot topic on the NIDS thing. Yeah, man, it definitely hot. It's supposed to hot.
All right,
So,
the
for
reason
example,
no, go ahead, please.
okay. So, for example, Cuba and Venezuela is one of those countries that, when it comes to deportation, they don't.
Oh, and can somebody send me the link to that video, the direct video where he said that about the NIDS? My number is 1-876-451-6535. All right.
They don't give leeway to the government to say, yes, this are our residents or this is our citizens, we're going to take them back. So most of the time, the U.S. government has these people now in the U.S. on what they call removal, but they're removed, but they're under supervision. So that means every 3 months or every month or so or every year, they have to go to ICE and report in saying, this is where I'm still living. This information is still valid for me until ICE can get a good, clear yes from that country to be able to remove that person. They're going to be on an order of supervision.
Okay, because I had a case once where the person flew from Jamaica to Canada, became a Canadian resident, then the person came across the border to the US, overstayed, and was picked up here. When they said, okay, where did you come in from? Where did you how did you come to the US? He said, from Canada. The Canadian government said he violated the terms of his residency, so we don't want him back here. You can't send him to us. And then when they said, well, where you from? They figured he's from Jamaica, but the Jamaican embassy said, we don't have any documentation. They said, look, that's your problem because he didn't fly from Jamaica to the US. He flew from Jamaica to Canada. So even though we know he's Jamaican, we're not gonna assist you in this matter because you need to send him back to Canada. But guess what? The guy's still here.
Wow, that is crazy. Did you guys catch that? Dude went to Canada, left from Canada to America illegally, got caught illegally in America. Then America was saying, yo, what's going on with this dude? They was like, whoopty whoopty whoop. Then they said, oh, he's Jamaican? Let's check the Jamaican. Jamaican saying, listen, you didn't send him, he didn't leave from here to you. That's your problem. And the dude is still there. That's crazy. So look at that situation, and people is out here worried that Donald Trump somehow is going to do this mass deportation. Man, listen, we got to do better. We got to get educated and stop allowing the campaigning of these politicians. Politicians lie, y'all. And the darkest side of politicians lie to a point where they know it's a lie and they know you're going to find out it's a lie and they don't care. Just to win the moment, they will say anything. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party did. They gaslighted y'all to be in fear of Trump sending you guys out of the country. Pay attention.
And that's why, because when the countries that of your citizenship is saying, well, that's not my citizen, that's not my fellow countryman, so send them back, then they have to go to the next country. And as we said, Canada said, well, he violated the term of his residency here in Canada. We don't want him back in Canada. So then now with the US is left with this person, and that's where it comes to order supervision. ICE, they have to keep reporting to ICE again, sometimes depends on the person, they'll make them for like every year. You have to do a check-in.
Right. Now, that person who has no abiding place, so to speak, because he can't, that Jamaica is saying, we don't,
hey, Velma.
We don't want him. They're saying, we're not the proper entity to talk to regarding this because he didn't fly from Jamaica to the US. He flew from Jamaica to Canada. So your argument, US government, is with the Canadians. And the Canadian government is saying he violated the terms of his residency, so we don't want him. That person who's still here under supervision, is that person eligible to work? And at some point, change status, adjust status in the US?
They would be eligible to work because ICE does have the power to grant them work authorization. With about changing status, it's a depend. It's gonna be depend. Why I say depend, maybe they have some family members, a spouse got married, met somebody while they're still here, get married. Maybe that spouse can file for them, and then maybe we can do like a motion to reopen the removal proceedings and try to get that deportation order vacated. So it's all gonna be depend upon what that person was being order removed based upon.
All right. Talk to us now about the citizenship piece. That so many
So
citizens are naturalized
yeah,
citizens. Yeah.
I've been here. I've heard about it, but I've yet to see the actual, because people are saying that Trump said he's going to denaturalize people, but I have not seen a video of him actually saying that.
Very important. The lawyer said she ain't seen a video of him saying that. Where did that come from? Did the media just put that out there and said it so many times? You all started to run with it and believe that it was true. And then it became the truth when it was a damn lie. How many times did they do that to Donald Trump in the last 8 years? Man, y'all better pay attention. I'm trying to tell you. And this is not even about Trump. This is about how the machine works against somebody that they deemed that they do not like and they are the enemy. Pay attention. Knowledge is power. Listen and learn. Leprechaun salute.
However, denaturalization is not something that is new. It's been there. It's a process that Congress, so for example, if you had committed any misrepresentation during the process of your naturalization process, they can go back and denaturalize. So they see that, oh, you lied and you misrepresent information and you conceal material facts that could have prevented you from becoming a citizen, then they can come back and denaturalize you from that point. Also, if you join a terrorist organization, after being a citizen, you're now, for example, say ISIS. You say, oh, I'm now going to support ISIS and the movements of those terrorist organizations. That's a process that can get you also denaturalized. Another process that can get you also denaturalized is if you were in the military and you got dishonorable discharge. That's a process also can get you denaturalized. So it's not just a simple thing that is new. It's not something that is new. I do remember that about 2017, 2018, while President Trump was still the president, the Department of Homeland Security created a different investigative unit to go out and check, to basically do these denaturalizations. And when they find that, they make the recommendation to put you in removal proceedings. Depends on those people based upon the misrepresentation or the fraud that was committed.
Now, here's the thing. When I was looking at the statute, right, regarding the subversive groups, what it seems to suggest is that, what it says is that if within 5 years after you become a citizen, if you join the Nazi Party, Al Qaeda, some subversive group, then then that would fall within the purview for them to denaturalize you.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that based on this 5-year statute of limitations, for lack of a better term, what you're saying is that if you become a member of the Nazi Party 6 years after you become a citizen, then this statute cannot be applied to you because it says you must do it within the first 5 years.
Yes.
And with the dishonorable discharge, they also say with the dishonorable discharge, and I find it kind of strange, it's 5 years. They said if you're dishonorably discharged within the first 5 years of service, and you're a naturalized citizen, then they can denaturalize you. I haven't looked at the legislative history and the discussions as to why they attached those time periods there, but it seems to me as if that would be an escape route. That if you have a client and the first question you want to ask client is, okay, let's say you're part of a subversive group, are you? And the person says, yes, I am. The next question is, when did you become
naturalized?
Yeah. When did you become naturalized? And when did you become a part of this subversive group? And the person said, I became a part of this subversive group 6 years after. Then it seems as if, tell me if I'm wrong, it seems as if they would be safe under this statute.
It would be, like, based upon the statute, reading just the plain language of the statute, is that, yes, they would be safe. But as you and I both know as attorneys, there are always exceptions to the rules, and there's ways that the government can get around it in some regards. So maybe say you become you're part of this group after 6 years, but then Congress called you in to testify and you refuse to testify about this group.
That's within 10 years, yeah.
Then they can also denaturalize you in that. So
right.
That's what I'm saying. Wow. They create the rules, but they also put them exceptions into the rules.
Yeah,
They
got back wall, firewall, loopholes in the system. So when you think you outsmarting the system like gotcha. So it's best to do it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Get around it when it's convenient to them.
You're right because the same law, it says that if it says you're subject to being denaturalized and deported if within the first 5 years of being naturalized you become a member of a subversive group. if you say, well, I became a member of the subversive group 7 years ago, then you're right. Because then they say, you know what, but we want you to come into Congress and tell us about your involvement. And if you say no, and that happens within the first 10 years, then you're still subject to it. You're absolutely correct. So, but talk to us a little bit about the acts, the bad acts that could get you in trouble as far as denaturalization is concerned. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Like if it's a marriage of convenience, how does that work? And does it go back to, do they take away the naturalization but leave you with the green card? Or do they say, no, we're going all the way back to when you first applied for the green card because that marriage was never good to begin with? How does it work?
So if they determine that it was a marriage of convenience, so they said that, okay, you married this person, it was never a real marriage, you never shared any type of financials together, you never lived together, you never consummate the marriage or anything, and they realize that's a sham marriage, it was only a marriage for convenience, they can denaturalize you, and they also can take away back the green card that was approved to you and put you in removal proceedings because you committed a fraud.
So what we're saying to our people is that if you got married,
hey Ivan, what's up?
The things about that. If you pay a woman a money to get married, forget a benefit, a immigration, forget a green card, and then you went and
who does that, bro?
Embarrassing.
He needs some milk.
I swear on everything I love, I am not paying nobody to get married, to get no damn visa to go to no country. Hell to the no. How you doing, Ivan? Good night, everybody. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Yes. And shout out to all the new subs, man.
And they didn't find out during that stage. And then you went and now you apply and you got your citizenship. Now they can go back and revisit that. And if it's determined that, wait a minute, when he got married, it was a sham marriage. And based on the sham marriage, we gave him a green card. And then he used the green card and the 3 year period, or the 5 year, depending on whether they were still together or not. And he applied and got his citizenship. Well, guess what? He never would have gotten the green card if we had found this out in the beginning.
Yes.
So he's not entitled to any immigration benefits, so he has to go home. All right, give me an example then when they would take away the citizenship, but they will leave you with a green card.
But wait, before you go there, is there any statute on that set scenario, that first scenario that Will presented? So the person has been, they got married 30 years ago, and so now this is coming into play. Do they go back looking at 30 years ago?
They can.
They can. They can definitely go back. Because even, for example, right? So for citizenship, they always supposed to be looking at the first 5 years, the 5 year from the date of you put in the application. But they also can look beyond that 5 years and go backwards. So say you had committed a crime, get arrested, and that was like 10 years ago. They can use that arrest against you to show good moral character, or also use that crime if it's something that was done within what they call aggravated felony. If it was a crime that was committed, but it was mustered up to, it may be a felony in state or a misdemeanor in state, but in immigration, it is considered aggravated felony. That can prevent you from becoming a citizen, even though that crime happened like 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Charlotte, in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, Brand Jamaica is absolutely correct. All right, Brand Jamaica, so basically if you bought your marriage, don't tell a soul. Because Kevin, to answer your question, Kevin, and this is how immigration, this is how a lot of times they find out things. You piss off somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have something they call a poison pill letter, right? Where somebody will just come on out and say, hey, this person, them get married 30 years ago and it was an illegal thing in PR. They'll go back.
Right.
They won't ignore it. And a lot of times that is how these things come to light. People call and, for whatever reason, they have a dispute with the person. And so Brand Jamaica is saying, if you bought your marriage, don't tell us so.
But that is true. That's true. I'm not encouraging anybody as an attorney. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. But no, to buy on a paper or buy marriage or nothing like that. Not do that. But in the same way, because even if you do it and even your own family member, because if they know and then you piss them off one day, and the next thing you know, immigration and knock your door, or you go for your interview, them ask you about XYZ, and then you're looking at them like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But somebody then they're gonna say, well, we got a letter. It could be because I had where in one scenario where this lady got married, the family didn't like her, and when they went for the interview, they had messed up in the interview, and then after they call them to do what you call a stoke marriage interview. But before they go for the interview, somebody in the family was talking to somebody else at a bar or somewhere else and said, I'm going to screw her.
Dang.
And they wrote a pen letter And next thing you know, immigration.
Hey, this is prime time information, you know. This is prime time information. And I get to no look breakthrough, not even a family member. Don't make them know nothing about an arrangement. If it's an arrangement, not even your closest friend. Nobody. Wanna just get through one day and just disappear. Yeah. I saw enough for doing the thing. And my mother always want about them something, you know. Andrea Hunt, big up. And Mayor Brown say, do you get on the needs? We don't know about that. We don't know about that.
Is already making a determination that it's a sham marriage and deny her paperwork because they said it was a sham marriage. So it's like sometimes when you do certain things, you have to kind of like sit on it. If you were breaking the law, you kind of have to sit down on it because you never know who's gonna turn it against you one way or the other down the road. Because I've seen in different situations where people get jealous of other people and then they go after them.
Yes. Garfield is asking a question. He said, a guy gets arrested but not convicted, but he was not granted citizenship. He was told to refile. Can he be naturalized?
He was arrested but not convicted. So maybe it depends on if he was doing it within the 5-year look back period, because it would be show that a good moral character. Even though depends on what he was arrested. Depends on what he was arrested for. Okay, because if he was arrested and he was found not guilty of the charges, then they can't use that against him. But maybe he got a rehabilitation program, because some states have some program. It's basically you didn't plead guilty, but in a sense it kind of looked not good on your character. So maybe it depends on what he was really charged with and at the point.
Here's a question for you. Client, this is your client, and your client was arrested. Between the time, two scenarios. The client was arrested before he got a green card. And there's a disposition. Person was found guilty. Person pled. What effect will that guilty plea have on the person's application for citizenship?
Well, it depends on what the crime was that he pled guilty on. If it was a real misdemeanor or it doesn't add up to aggravated.
All right, so the NIDS in its original state, ladies and gentlemen, Velma asks a question. Isn't the NIDS illegal? Didn't the court rule against it? So how come Andrew is inviting the people to accept it? All right, so I did a video on this, but let me explain real quickly. The original presentation that they gave on the NIDS is that it was going to be mandatory that you take the NIDS. So I want everybody to know that it's not mandatory to take the NIDS, ladies and gentlemen. That is very important. You won't be locked up if you didn't take the NIDS. Again, the original bill that they posted was that it's going to be illegal if you didn't take it, and then you would get fined $100,000 or more if you didn't take it. They had things in the bill and the law to, you know, facilitate some time before you eventually accept the NIDS and get enough information. But they just dash down the bill, right? Yo, no need to watch the previous live stream then, mama do. Seriously, all of that was explained. I have 3 live streams before this one that totally goes into the NIDS. You know, right for me, I explain that right now. Trust me, it's not right for me to doing that. This is one total different topic. Go and look at the previous live stream that I did. Oh my God, Andrew Owner's kingdom set for a mighty fall. That one, and oh my God, Andrew Owner's lawless party did it again. Those 2 videos are about the NIDS. I'm going to drop the link to them in the chat. Those 2 videos are about the NIDS. Alright, so you guys go and watch those 2 videos, because I found a clip from way back of the youth where Andrew Owens did violate and rush him when he asked him some question about the NIDS. I found a video that the youth did before that altercation with Andrew Owens, and I did another video with some more details about the altercation with Andrew Owens. and I brought a lot of facts and evidence. So those 2 links that I just dropped a while ago, ladies and gentlemen, are the videos. One of them I did 12 hours ago. That was early this morning. Go and watch those videos. Yeah. Go and watch those videos. I explained everything. I went into the article, how it was illegal, everything. All right, let's continue.
Aggravated felony.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't do much. It would just show like, okay, he had to show that he rehab his character. So over that 5 or 10 years, he has made these changes in his life that he no longer.
Sure, that's where you're going.
Sure, that's way.
Tara Allen, big up, welcome all the new subs, salute to you. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe. And for all of my new people, I probably have to say this more, but if you want to donate to the platform, there's a donation link pinned at the top of the comment section. It is a PayPal link, it is an anonymous link, and it will be read out on the screen. Anytime you use that link to donate, you'll see it read out like this. Yeah, let's go. Turn up on the donations. Thank you for the love, gentle people. Let's get it. Turn me up.
Julia Graham tipped $20. The money from Samir. Revolving hearts, revolving hearts, revolving hearts.
And shout out to Julia. Yes, let's continue.
You can't leave like this. But
No. If you still hear me, my camera just went off on me. That's why.
Okay.
We're hearing you.
Yeah. Sorry, my camera. Technology nowadays.
There she is.
But it all gonna be depends on what the person got charged with. And then sometimes when you got arrested and you got the green card, you may have done a waiver. Maybe do a 601 waiver to pardon, so they pardon you for that whatever inadmissibility at that time before you get the green card. So once you get the green card now and applying for citizenship, they won't necessarily look back on that because you already filed a 601 waiver on that in inadmissibility.
All right, here's another one for you.
You're killing me with questions today, right?
No,
I haven't been out for a while. So you're like, I'm gonna give you all.
No, here's another one for you. The person got a green card. Person is now applying for citizenship. During the citizenship process, it's determined that the place where the applicant said he lived with his wife, he never lived there. And it's also determined that his tax return is bogus. And in fact, the client said to me, he said, "Look, I never lived there." I don't know why the attorney put that and said, "I never lived there," and said this. So he said that the client is saying, "I never lived there." His wife, who's now his ex-wife, is saying he never lived there, because you don't need a wife to file for your citizenship. It's self-file, right? So
yeah.
Right.
Then he got his tax situation. It said I never filed that tax return. The problem now is immigration is saying, well, we are holding you responsible. So the larger question, the larger question is this, and a caution to everyone, and then I'd like Shirley to comment on it, is this: that whatever information is on that paper, regardless of who told you or who submitted it, it's of no moment when they start to look backwards, because you're going to say that is on you. You are responsible for every piece of information there. So it's no defense to say, well,
That's
right. The attorney did this, or my aunt, my cousin filled this thing out, or my wife filled this out, and they put that, and it's not true. They're going to say, well, it's on you. Comment on that, please, about information submitted to immigration.
No, that is definitely true. Every information that is submitted to immigration, you are signing, the paper is saying that you're signing on the penalty of perjury, and that everything that is there is the truth, and that you gave the information to the preparer. So everything that they do is going to be there. One thing I always tell people, at the point when you're sitting there, you are responsible for everything. So you better make sure that you read and know all the information that is being provided, because the immigration officer is not going to blame the attorney for what they're looking at, because they're going to say, you're the one I'm asking the question right now. You have to answer the question, not the attorney.
And Don says, what if you already got your papers, green card, and someone informed on you that it's bogus marriage? Will card be withdrawn? No, it won't be withdrawn immediately. They're going to do their investigation. It's not done just because somebody told them, because they know too that people do this to get back at other people.
I think this is excellent. They're asking such detailed questions in the chat, and the value of this, I mean, it cannot be overstated. I hope you guys truly appreciate that I'm sharing this content. I don't keep it to yourself. You understand?
Malicious.
Yeah, they know that. And in fact, there's a charge. They can charge them for that. You know.
Oh yeah, because it's one thing is that immigration will take the information, they will do their own investigation, and then they may bring it back up when you go for citizenship, because that's like I always tell people that citizenship is your one last hurrah for them, to look back and see if anything they missed anything at any point in the whole time. Because for example, I had a client where he got married, got his green card through marriage. Then he applied for the removal of the 2-year.
The conditional.
After he got his 2-year condition removed and now have his 10-year, it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later he filed for divorce. So when he went for his citizenship, they now questioning, well, was this a valid marriage? So now he had to prove.
Wow. So you see all of the people that went over there with nefarious intent to think you could go around the system got fail safes, bruh. If you ain't gonna go in, I'm not telling nobody what to do, but I don't recommend you do nothing illegal to go into nobody's country. You know how embarrassing that is? That is embarrassing, bro. Hell no, not me. Couldn't have been me.
With letters from friends in the community who witnessed different things that was happening in his marriage to show that he did have a bona fide marriage, and that the marriage really broke down after all of this. He got his 10-year and everything else. The wife had I think the wife had thrown him out or something like that. So he had to prove that it was not a sham marriage, because immigration started to question now, like, okay, your divorce paper was filed, that was 3 months after you got your 10-year.
Yeah.
I keep telling people that if you're applying for citizenship, I need to, which is N400, right? I need to see what you filed for your green card, because they're gonna ask you some of the same questions, and people don't realize this. Even if it's 20 years, they still pull up the documentation, and they look to see if you're consistent. And if you're inconsistent, I had one where the guy applied for a B2 visa, a tourist visa, and on the application he said he was married, and I think he said he was married with 3 kids. So he came to the States, he overstayed, he got married to a U.S. citizen, and then when he applied for his green card, he put on it, and he had 2 kids with this lady that he got married, and he put on it that he's married and that he has 2 kids. What he didn't realize is that the visa that he got in Jamaica, they pulled that up and they said, wait a minute, he said he's married in Jamaica with 3 kids, because what happened, he was trying to prove that he has stakes in the community, because when you show that you're married, they'll give you because they say, well, he's going to go back, he's not going to stay. So they said, wait a minute, hold on, did you divorce the first wife? Because on the application form, we ask you how many times you've been married, and you say 1. The lady said you have 2 kids. But then on the form that you filled out in Jamaica, you said you have a wife there, and you have 3 kids. So you're supposed to have 2 wives and 5 kids. Or if you have 1 wife and 5 kids, we need to see the divorce decree.
Damn.
So people, I'm telling you, and sometimes it's a pain in the ass, because when you ask for it, people think that you're just, that's what you are. But no, we need to see, as the attorneys, we can't argue for you if we don't know what you said before. And I can't begin to tell you, Sharon, and I'm sure you've experienced it, where you've gone into an interview and the client told you one thing, then you get in there and then the immigration officer is bringing up all kinds of stuff, and you're going, wait a minute, you didn't tell me this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've had that on numerous occasions, and a lot of the time it's with my fellow Jamaicans, which is it is funny for me because we are the best. We are definitely the best. I tell you, because I remember the very first time that happened to me was I'm like, have you ever been deported? Like, no man, never get deported in my life, never. And I sit there, and the immigration officer said, okay, so back in 1978 you were deported, you were held, and you said you have a wife in Florida and all this other stuff, and I'm sitting there like looking shocked, because I'm like, I don't understand what's going on right now. I don't have any defense to anything, because the client told me no. Then I remember with one client where an immigration officer cued me, and he was like, it's very common with Jamaicans where they're coming and they're saying they have common law marriages.
That's not a problem.
And they're not understanding.
Pay attention to this part right here about common law marriages, all right? Common law marriage is a real marriage in Jamaica. This is key info right here. I did not know that what she's about to say and what they're about to discuss right now. Wow.
And that is a bona fide marriage. And I was like, okay, so every client would come to me saying they have common law marriages.
That's not a problem.
And they're not understanding that is a bona fide marriage. And I was like, okay, so every client would come to me now. I started asking, when you went to the interview for your at the embassy, did you ever tell them you were married or common law marriage or anything like that? And I've had like several said nope. And I said, you sure? They're like, no. I said, well, if we go to the interview and the officer is mentioning anything about a common law marriage or listing some common law wife and kids, we're gonna have problems because you guys are lying to me. And if you lie to me, I can't help you. And sure enough, I've had an encounter where the officer asking, like, would say, who is Sarah? And the person said, I don't know what you're talking about. They said, but it's your common law wife that you guys have a mortgage and a house together. Who is Sarah? Because he's asking the wife, do you know this Sarah? She's like, no. So when he comes in, and because, you know, as the attorneys, we sit in on both interview when they separate them. And I wrote down my little notes of things that they're saying. And when he comes in and asking who is Sarah, he doesn't know who Sarah is either. So and the officer said, but that's your common law wife with 2 kids and a mortgage. What are you talking? What do you mean you don't know? This is what you put on your application for the embassy. Because he said, no, this is only the marriage I've had. He's like, well, you did have a common law marriage right here. And the thing is, people need to understand common law marriage is a valid marriage in Jamaica. And if it's valid in Jamaica, it's going to be valid here in the U.S.
You know, one of the things.
You hear that? Common law marriages is valid in Jamaica. And if it's valid in Jamaica and you're going to apply for a visa, it's going to be valid in America as well. Because it's documentation, it's paperwork. Pay attention. This is crazy.
Things, and I'm sure you've done it too, to try and get around that problem is I can't remember the term, but there's a document you can get from the Jamaican government where you ask them, is there a civil registration of a marriage between these 2 people? And they'll come back and they'll say no. And so you make the argument that, look, the client said it's a common law marriage, but it wasn't really a common law marriage. It's a boyfriend girlfriend thing, you know. And sometimes they'll buy it, sometimes they won't. But you need that thing to show that the government has not registered a civil marriage between these 2. And so he just said it because he wasn't sure what he was talking about, or she said it, she wasn't sure what she's talking about, and then you go for it. But one more thing before you say something, Shirley. One thing I'm going to tell you people out there is this: when you go to an interview with your lawyer, you answer only the question that is asked.
Yes.
Don't try to impress them. Sometimes these officers, they're trained. They'll have what they call a pregnant pause, where they'll ask and they just sit there, they're looking at you, and then you'll answer, and they'll just sit there looking at you as if that's not the full answer. If that's your full answer, that's your full answer. You don't feel like you have to bridge the gap. You know, let the pregnant pause stay right where it is. Do not go
fill in the blanks.
Yes. Go ahead, Shirley.
No, I do the same thing. I do say the same thing. I always tell a client, if it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. Don't yes, but. Don't no, but. Because the moment you put in a but and want to give an explanation to that in that question, you open a hand's nest for them. Because as you said, they do the pregnancy pause and they will sit and they wait, and you start to explain in something that they didn't even care to. They're just waiting for you to give them more cues and to send you down a rat hole, because they're going to start now going off of everything that you're saying and asking more questions for you to start twisting yourself up, and then they're going to have you in a place where they want you. Because I always tell people, they don't ask you anything that they don't already know the answer to.
There you go.
And that's the most important thing. Like, they have done their background. They've done everything that they need to done, and they're going to ask you every question that they want an answer to or an explanation to. And if you don't remember, I don't remember. Don't make up an answer, because people always think to say, oh, I need to give an answer. No, if you don't remember, I just don't remember.
You know the ones that I like, and I'm saying this, immigration probably hear this now and say, oh, when Rattigan comes in, we have to separate it completely. Because what I do is, when I go with my client, I tell them, just sit right next to me, and I said, look, here's what's going to happen. You answer only the questions asked. And if I kick you, it means you're shut the hell up.
You do that too?
Yeah, I do.
I do it too. I think the most of the time the clients are sitting in front of me, and I'm in the seat behind. And when they're talking and I don't really want them, I kind of like hit the chair or I
Tap the
cough
chair.
or do something just
Yeah.
to be able to kind of like stop them from just shut up.
I
Like,
Yeah,
don't say that word.
I had a client one time and he felt as if he had to impress the officer. And I told both of them before they went in, I said, listen, you answer only the question. Unfortunately, I said, when we go in, let's just grab the seats, but sit right next to me, right? And if they want to move you, then that's fine. But once we go in, just grab the seat. Wherever I'm going, just follow me. Fortunate, and the desk is here, so they can't see underneath the desk.
Yes.
So what happened? This guy, I was kicking the hell out of this guy, man, because he felt like. So what happened is that we ended up with a lot of pregnant pauses. Sometimes he's in the middle of saying crap, something he shouldn't be saying, and then when I kicked him, he stopped. So the officer's looking at him like, go on, and he's just sitting there just looking at each other. And then also, folks, keep in mind that what they'll do is, especially with a marriage, I don't really see interviews with parent-child. Really don't, because they can prove that relationship. That's not a sham relationship. But when you get married, especially if you get married, if you're married in the last 5 years or so, you are going to be interviewed. So when they bring you in, they are going to separate you. They're going to interview you one at a time. You have to make sure your story is correct. I've seen so many of those where they said to the wife, "How did you meet your husband?" She said, "Oh, I met him at a party." Then they said to the husband, "How did you meet your wife?" He said, "Oh, I was traveling, and then I saw a car, and I saw her, and she needed help. She had a flat tire." And then and going to this detailed thing about, and then they're like, "Well, the only thing you can do at that point is withdraw the application. Is just say, we're going to withdraw the application. That's the only thing you can do and walk out."
Man, listen, shout out to the person that sent me the video of Andrew Holness talking about the NIDS and whatever. I'm gonna break it down after I'm done with this. I've not listened to it, so it's gonna be a raw reaction. So y'all stick around and tell a friend that we live, man. I know more than 100 people is out there right now that is in the space. So share the live, guys. Let's get it.
How many of those have you done with Rattigan? How many withdrawals have you done?
You have to do a lot of withdrawals. Because people don't listen.
Sure, Ned.
They don't listen.
Yes.
Sure,
No,
how about you?
With some of them, I kind of like
Why this is important, ladies and gentlemen. It's important, this information that I'm sharing right now. If you're not a subscriber of Mr. Rattigan, one, you should be, and secondly, stay tight. Salute to you. What a name, Jesus. This is not the Rattigan show. This is Bolo V&R. Rattigan is not up here. I'm playing one of his videos, but salute to you. It seems like it's a panel, but it really isn't. This is OBS. It's very dope technology that makes it appear like I'm really on the panel with them, but I am not. But anyway, the reason why this information is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen, is because you don't want to make these same mistakes that these people that the lawyers are talking about make. You want to know about these things so you can not do the wrong things in your application when you're actually going to the embassy, because you're gonna tell them that, oh, you have all of these assets, and yes, you have a common law wife, and you have 3 kids, and you have a house. So they're saying, oh, you have assets in Jamaica, man. They're not going to run off. And then when you go over there now, you totally forget, say you had put that in the application. Then when another thing comes up, we have to deal with the people in the embassy now. They say, but wait a minute, you had told us this in your previous document and you forget. No, guys. No, please pay attention to what they're talking about. They're laughing, but these are the mistakes that people make. And I was not aware of a lot of the things that they're saying. And I'm sure a lot of you are not aware as well. So don't keep it to yourself. Share the live.
sometimes some of the questions.
And remember to hit the like button.
Well, because people don't listen.
Sure, Ned.
They don't listen.
Yes.
Sure,
No,
what about you?
With some of them, I kind of like, sometimes some of the questions is not about how you met. They always tend to have that good in my clients. It's more sometimes about the different things in the house or the color coordination of certain things. So I always try to play it off and say,
Right.
well, men are colorblind.
Oh,
Or
okay.
so he kind of
Let
like
the guy of the counselor. The officer counselor, please let the client answer the question.
yeah, and then that's sometimes some of what you have to kind of like. Sometimes I kind of like push to interject on certain things. Like if the client answered in a way that I'm like, well, that's not kind of good answer. So I was like, well, that's not what I think that's not what he's really trying. I know he's nervous right now, but this is what he's really trying to say. So I kind of like always try to interject at times. And then especially when it comes to like different things in a home or like the colors or how it's, I was like, women more detailed than men are. So woman is more going to tell you that the shower curtain is future pink instead of the man gonna say it's pink. Like, so like those different little things, I kind of always try to interject to kind of like throw the officer off from focusing on that the husband just gave a wrong completely color from what the wife says. So that's my way of my little tactic at times when the clients are doing certain things. And if the client doesn't feel ready, because what I do, I normally prepare my clients, like do 2 or 3 mock review within our class in my office and so forth like that. To get the clients prepared and like, okay, this is where you guys are not completely connected on. And this is what you need to be focused on right now. So I kind of do that. So when we go to the interview, they're somewhat prepared. When they're ready to go off track, I kind of kick the chair like you do, or try to throw something to kind of like pause them up for a moment. So that's how I get over it. Because I haven't really withdrawn much of those things because I kind of like give them like a script in a sense, like, okay, these are what you're making mistake on.
What I'll do sometimes, and a lot of times they won't allow it though, is to say, can we take a break?
My
client obviously is nervous. Can we take a break? And then I'll take a break, and then I'll instruct the person and say, listen, you're not doing what we talked about. Another thing is this, folks. If you go to an attorney for immigration matters and you have an interview coming up with you and your wife or just you by yourself, if that lawyer doesn't sit down with you and prep you for that interview,
don't go.
Then what you need to do is you need to ask for an extension and get another lawyer, because the preparation is so important. It's so because we know some of the questions that they're going to ask and how they're going to ask the questions. And so you may go inside there thinking you're the smartest guy in the world. They can ask any question I'm going to ask. And believe me, like Shernet says, they know the answer to every question they're going to ask you. And then they've looked at every single application you filed. If you filed one 30 years ago and you completely forgot about it, they have it. They reviewed it. And so you're going to have a problem. So please, whether you go to Shernet, me, or some other lawyer, just make sure that before you got an interview, they sit you down and they go through the application with you, and then they do role playing. They ask you the question and set you up. So when you go in, it should be a breeze. You shouldn't have any problems. If they don't do that, you might have a problem. And then that's when now we start kick the chair and then do a pregnant pause and
anybody going to Rattigan, their attorney wear shin guards. That's all that. There's a question here. Sure. Individual has a green card and 7 years with the green card, they get arrested. Judge gives 1 year probation. Case was thrown out after the 1 year. Can that person still get their citizenship?
Yes, they can still apply for citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So
everybody can apply, but can they get it?
Because you can get it. It's not gonna depends on what. Again, it all gonna depends on what was it that he was arrested for. He or she was arrested for, and if the case was thrown out, then that means there's no conviction anymore.
6 ounces of ganja. 6 ounces of ganja.
Well, that's going to be dependent upon the immigration officer at that moment.
At the state, right?
And the state. It's going to be it's going to be dependent upon the state. So say it was ganja. The person got a ganja, and then in, like, for example, Connecticut, marijuana is no legal. So if you have less than 4 ounces, I believe you don't get any record for that. And all those cases, if you were arrested before, it's all wiped off. So now it's pretty much kind of like a pardon. It's clear your record. You still have to disclose it to immigration, but it's not a lot. So they're gonna look at the quantity amount at the same time, and also because it's been dismissed, you have to show that you have good moral character. It was just that one-time arrest, and there's nothing else. So it's all gonna be based upon your good moral character at that point because the case has been dismissed.
Okay. Thank you.
In the chat says that
I hope that answers your question, Lawrence.
No, that was a big question right there. I mean, marijuana? So it depends on the state. It depends on your moral character. That was a good question.
Does Ratty have any other clients brought assault charges against? I guess for the kicking. No.
Yeah.
Sometimes, oh Lord, Ratty has stressed out anybody about an interview next week. No, if it's next week, them still have time. Them can talk to them lawyers. And then somebody else say, well, why do you need prepping if it's the truth. Well, believe me, when you sit down in that chair, it's a completely different thing from where you are right now. And we have near you attack and things like that.
I remember say something about that. Remember, your nerves are going to kick in, A lot of people nerves kick in. Because, they might try to get them visa. So even though them know the truth, obviously, because them live it, you will still go chat foolishness in front of the person. It won't, because on the nervous, right? And the reason why you prep is to make sure that you stay calm and your mind is clear. If you're nervous, if you're angry, if you're crying, emotional, your mind is not clear. Your mind is fuzzy. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why you got to prepare with your lawyers. Come on now.
I've seen people, legitimate marriages, where they go in and them start chatting a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
It's when it, don't get me wrong, you do need prepping even when it's a valid marriage, because you would live together, you know everything. But when you're sitting in a seat of nerve and nervousness, because now you're sitting in front of somebody who holds whether or not you're going to get a green card, or they're going to or they can put you in removal proceedings, because immigration officer at that moment, they also can make recommendation to send you to immigration court if they feel like you are in a sham marriage. So you're sitting there, your fate is in somebody's hand. No matter how much you know, you're going to panic. You're going to start saying foolishness, because people, when you get nervous, you start, your brain is going, your heart is racing, everything about you are just a mile a minute, and you're starting talking, you're rambling. And those things, you need to learn how to be calm, take deep breaths. Like I always tell my client, don't rush to answer a question. If you don't understand what the person, even if you do understand what the person asks you, just say, ma'am or sir, could you please repeat that for me? Because that gives you a moment to calm your nerve and be able to answer the question. I know myself. I know the immigration law. I know, but even as an attorney, sometimes when I go to court, I get in my little nerves sometimes. You get a little nervous at times, but I know what I'm doing. I've prepared my cases, but you have to always calm your nerve at times. So it's not about saying, oh, you're preparing them because they don't know, it's not a valid marriage or anything like that.
I love what she just did. She's showing you that even with her knowledge of the immigration and everything, and being a lawyer, she's a human being. She goes in front of the judge in the courtroom, and as much as she prepares, there's a moment where nervousness settles in for whatever reason. So just know, man, that's why you need them, because they are having the same experience as you, because they're human beings. We're all human beings.
No, you're preparing them to be calm in a tense situation, because you're sitting there 30. It's like almost gonna be. It's supposed to be for 30 minutes. So sometimes it can last for an hour, but that's 30 minutes of somebody grilling you about like, what did you have for dinner last night? Who cooked that dinner last night? How did you get here to the interview this morning? Who drive? What kind of car? Where did you park? Like, you have to, those are some stuff that people may not understand. So you're telling them in the preparation, saying like, these are potential questions that could be asked. And if you know it.
What side of the bed you sleep on?
That's the question too.
Who wake up first in the morning? Do you have an alarm clock? Where is the alarm clock? Who's is a bed next to a window? Is there a window in your bedroom? Like, they're gonna ask questions that you always say, oh yeah, we know each other, but you may not even focus on the things in your house like that they were asking questions of. So that's the point. That's why we prepare our clients, because immigration officer is kind of creating this, I always call it this fictitious marriage, because no married couple have a perfect marriage. We all fight. We all have issues at times. None of us is perfect. Have a perfect marriage. I can say, yes, I know my husband's favorite color. I can know my husband this, but there's something about my husband I don't remember, but I probably should know.
You should know where that little beauty mark is that sits right above his.
And sometimes they do, and sometimes they can ask.
That is funny, honey. That's funny. Oh my God, that is funny.
Yeah, man, that boy got jokes.
See that question too. Does your husband or spouse have a tattoo? Where is the tattoo? And so you kind of have
where's the birthmark that look like Cuba?
So it's like you have to. It's like preparation is helping you. It's just like for any test. You're in school. You know the material, but you have to still go over the information before that exam, before you sit for that exam. And it's the same thing with immigration cases. It's just another exam about your life.
The way I look at it is this. I approach it from the standpoint that the immigration officer is not there to give you an immigration benefit. You have to earn it. So they come in with the perspective that you have to prove your case. Not that we're going to come in, we're going to give it to you. They're not going to give you anything. You have to prove your case. They're not there to give it to you. And so
Yes.
you have to convince them that my marriage is legitimate, or whatever my filing basis is, it's legitimate. You have to prove that to them, to their satisfaction. And I've seen cases where the proof was, to me, the proof was overwhelming, and the officer said, no, I don't accept it. I don't accept it. And some of these things, you can't appeal. You just have to refile, especially with the B1, B2 visa. You can't appeal those if they turn you down.
Yeah.
You just have to.
You just have
And
to
the weirdest
refile.
part about it is that they don't tell you specifically why they've denied you. They give you some vague statute, some reference to a statute, and you're looking at it, and there are like 12 things there, and you go, okay, which one of these did I violate? You don't know. And I wish they would do that so people could say, okay, all right, fine, all right. But they don't. They don't.
They don't want to make your job easy. Why would they do that?
Well, and that keeps us busy too, because then if they tell them they could go do it themselves, but now they come to us and say, look, I have a riddle here. How do we solve this? I don't know what's going on. They won't tell me. Maybe you know why. I'll give you an example. I had a client. The client, businessman, used to travel from Jamaica to the US frequently, attended a whole bunch of trade shows, and everything was fine. Went back for the renewal, denied. And I'm trying to figure out, well, why was it denied? Because they don't give you a reason. It's like, I don't know. I've always gone, and I've never overstayed, and I've never worked, and all the things that would get you disqualified or get your, have them rescind your visa. Never committed any of those. Come to find out, made some checks, did some things. Come to find out that years ago, the client was living in Canada and overstayed. And what people don't understand is that the Five Eyes countries, they share information. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, and the US, they share information. Those 5 countries, they have the closest relationship amongst themselves than with anybody else. The other countries, they say they're allies or they're friends, but these 5 countries, they're like this. They shared information. Come to find out that the Canadians wanted to deport him. He took voluntary departure. He went home. And they asked him on the application, have you ever gone through any of this process before? And he said, no.
Wow.
Information caught up to him. And that's why they denied him. But so that's why you ask people, just go back, think about the things that you've done, think about them, And the thing is, they never told him. They never said, oh, because you were in Canada, they were going to deport you, blah, 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 blah. Nothing like that came up. They just said, sorry, you're not eligible for the visa. So it's important that I tell people, you tell me the lies so that I can package them for you. You don't want to tell the immigration the lies yourself. You don't want to do that. Tell me the lies, and then let me work around. Let me try and package it for you. But if the first time I'm hearing this is in their presence,
so you're saying tell you the lie, but don't let you know that it's a lie.
But whatever it is that you were planning to tell them, that was going to be a lie. Tell me so that I can work through it. You know what I mean? For example, like if you had just said, hey, you know what? Yeah, I was in Canada and I overstayed and blah, 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 blah. Then fine, I can work with that. But if you tell me there's nothing in my past that could cause this, then I'm going to go in there and make that argument. No, I'm going to look foolish.
Right.
No, that's true. Because if you don't know, you're going there making an argument, and they're looking at you like, yeah, right. Didn't your client tell you this? And you're looking like, no. Because when we know, like you said, if you know that he was in Canada, took voluntary departure, maybe you could find a statute or a case that could help this case and say, okay, yes, he was in Canada, he got voluntary departure, but this is how his life has changed. This is what he has done in society. This is what he's been doing, and this is what he just only need a visa to come in because he's a businessman. He's just coming and purchase business goods to go back home to continue doing his business. And you could say, okay, maybe this person is eligible for a non-immigrant visa waiver for inadmissibility or something. You could have prepared the case a little bit more better if they had told you ahead of time. But then when you go into an interview and you don't know anything, and you're now have to play defense instead of you're already on the offense, you're now on the defense, which clients don't understand. It's best for us to always be on the offense than on the defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, and somebody asked about a gun charge. Yeah, a gun charge, it doesn't prevent you from getting a green card, doesn't prevent you from getting a citizenship. The thing is, you have to tell them, though. You have to get that disposition letter from the court saying that, yeah, you were charged and here's how it was disposed. You got a fine, you got jail time or whatever. Because the moment you say, no, I've never been arrested, it's over.
That's a lie, yeah, because you're misrepresenting yourself.
So, you just have to come clean.
So I've never been arrested, but I've been in handcuffs. Does that count?
No, because the question is, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been arrested? Because they know that, look, a lot of times people get arrested, but then the charge are dropped. You know, charges are dropped, or they go to court and they're found not.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest lessons I've learned from listening to this so far is honesty is the best policy. All right, my mother always tell me two things: manners and honesty carry one far away in her life. So do the right thing.
They know that. So that's why they ask, have you ever been arrested? They don't. I don't. Correct me about this, Sherman. I don't recall them asking if you've ever been detained.
No, they've on the I think it's on the 485. It may be also be on the citizenship where they ask you, have you ever committed a crime that you were never arrested for, or have you ever been arrested but not charged? So they do ask some of the questions in that variation for you to say. Some people may say no on one, but then yes on the other, and it looks like, well, you should have said. It all depends, because you could be arrested but not charged for the other thing, and you could be arrested and charged, but then the case was dismissed.
That's a tricky question though, because if they said, have you ever committed a crime that you were not arrested for? All of them commit crime when arrested for. Everybody commit jaywalking. You know, in jaywalk, we commit a crime that we never been arrested for. I mean, it's a violation.
Ticket.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, but so now when you get a question, you have to start thinking. Them know something women don't remember. You know? Them know something women don't remember. So you have to be careful how you answer these questions, and that's why you have, like somebody said in the chat, you have to tell the liar the truth so the liar can pretty it up for you. Because if you don't tell a lie, if you say no, I've never come, then next thing you know, and again, be very careful, because the people closest to you, they will sell you out. Because when I'm asking the question, have you ever committed a crime that you've never been arrested for? Trust me, you have a cousin or an auntie or somebody back there who you cause problem for, and them drop a dime point, as them say. Them write a letter or something and say, yeah, you know, he did involved in this, but the police them never catch him. and then all of a sudden now, the interview start go in that direction there. And them start asking about an event where you never tell the lawyer about, and the lawyer sit down there and I say, what the hell? Why you never tell me about this?
Embarrassing.
He needs some milk.
Cause they never arrest.
So somebody.
Yeah, it always I never remember. That's like the most famous one. I don't remember. I never remember that. And it's like, it's not good, because most of the time, and then after when you're done with the interview's over, then they start to want to explain to you now what happened, and I'm like, you should have told me that before I sit in the interview to learn that information. And then now they're starting to panic, like, oh, what's going to happen now? What was going to do? What can we do? And okay, now I just learned all this information. I have to have time to process it, to figure out what options are there for you. Because
another lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, is be proactive and not reactive. Lay it all out on the table to the lawyer, all right, so they can be proactive, can get ahead of it.
Had you told me this months ago, we would be able to have a better plan to be able to address this issue. Because even sometimes if something happens, I'm quick to bring it up before the officer acts about it. As long as I know, I'm like, well, oh, we're making a correction to XYZ on the application. Right. So by me bringing it up to him, the officer, him or her, the officer, they're seeing that, okay, we're not trying to hide anything. I'm trying to bring it to your attention first and explain. I'm going to explain it out to you right here. So that way, when you go to that question, you don't need to ask about it, because I'm already telling you up front that, hey, we need to make a change, and this is the reason why we're making this change at this moment.
You know what that is? That is the Eminem effect. 8 Mile. Yeah. I'm going to tell you about myself, then I'm going to tell you about yourself. So you can't do me nothing because I already know my flaws. Damn.
Sure, here's a question for you. So if you owe the IRS, can you file for citizenship?
And yes, before you answer that, let's tack on another piece of that. Child support.
Yeah.
Yes, you can file for citizenship if you owe the IRS, also for child support. However, you have to show that you are in a payment plan with IRS. So if you owe IRS for maybe 2 years and you never wanted to pay IRS, but you want to apply for citizenship, you're gonna have to be going into a payment plan with IRS and show that you're making payments, and you have to show the signed authorized agreement that you signed with IRS. Along with child support, you can apply for citizenship, but you also have to show that you are paying child support and that you're current with your child support order. So say if you had back child support, but you are making payments now, you're showing proof from the court to say that you are making the payments to get current, or you're paying off whatever is owed in your child support.
Yo, wait a minute. Child support? Yo, I gotta play that back. I didn't know we could go through that with child support now. Wait a minute.
And this is the reason why we're making this change at this moment.
Sure, here's a question for you. So if you owe the IRS, can you file for citizenship?
And yes, before you answer that, let's tack on another piece of that. Child support.
Yeah.
Yes, you can file for citizenship if you owe the IRS. Also for child support. However, you have to show that you are in a payment plan with IRS. So if you owe IRS for maybe 2 years and you never wanted to pay IRS, but you want to apply for citizenship, you're gonna have to be going into a payment plan with IRS and show that you're making you're making payments, and you have to show the signed authorized agreement that you signed with IRS. Along with child support, you can apply for citizenship, but you also have to show that you are paying child support and that you're current with your child support order. So say if you had back child support, but you are making payments now, you're showing proof from the court to say that you are making the payments to get current, or you're paying off whatever is owed in your child support.
How about if you
child support, citizenship? Hey, lady, there's a lot of people that's gonna call you. Hey, my brothers in the States that's on child support. That's not citizens. Hey, yo, and you paying your stuff, my brother? Hey, public service announcement. The number is right there. Call her. I said, call her.
You owe child support and you're not working, and you apply for citizenship.
Again, you can apply for it. It's gonna be on the officer discretion to say if you show good moral character. If you're not working, you're gonna have to show why you're not working or why you can't get a job. To be able to pay these child support. So say if you're not working but you're on disability, then that could be the proof to show that okay, you were injured on your job or you got injured in a way that you're now cannot work, so you're on disability, and that's why you owe child support. But you have to also show that you either can modify your child support or you're making some type of arrangement to get that paid, because that's showing your good moral character. Because if you're not taking care of your child, it doesn't show good moral character in immigration eyes on you.
Leprechaun asked a question: if you're waiting on your 10-year green card, can you still apply for citizenship after 4 years? Well,
shout out to Leprechaun. I see you in the chat, Leprechaun, over there asking some good questions. Salute to you. Yes.
Leprechaun, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, after 3 years you can apply for citizenship. If you're not married to a U.S. citizen, it has to be 5 years. So there's no 4-year period in there. But I get your point. Shernet, if you're waiting on your 10-year green card, can you still apply for citizenship after you qualify?
Yes, I use that as a trick for most of my clients who are waiting for their 10-year green card. So if they're still married to the U.S. citizen spouse and they apply for removing the condition, and it's 3 years, I apply for citizenship as well. So what it does when they call you to do the citizenship application, it forces them to make the adjudicate the 751 along with the N400. So immediately you get your 10-year, and then it basically goes right into your citizenship. So that's like my little trick of trying to force your hand, because when you're applying for the removal of the condition to get the full 10-year, nowadays they're giving you a 48 months extension.
48 months. That's 2 years. Oh, so what she does is apply for the. Oh, I see what you did there. 3 + 2. Damn.
I always tell client,
wow.
Why wait for them to give you the 10-year if you want to become a citizen? And now is the time to do it, because what it does is by the time your citizenship interview comes around, it forces them to do both application at the same time.
Damn. Come on, man. Hey, she's good. Nah, y'all better call this lady, man. She's good.
But let's just wrap it up.
She's good, man. Hey, 203-572-6748. Hey, the number's right there on the screen. Damn.
As far as the rumor going around that President-elect Trump, when he gets into office, he's gonna denaturalize citizens.
Okay, I played this part at the first part already, man. Yo, that's what I'm talking about, man. Yes. Hey, I'm not even gonna waste no more time. Remember to like, share, and subscribe on this reaction. Show your appreciation, man. Don't keep this to yourself. This was a lot of great information. Shout out to Reasoning with Rattigan on YouTube. Again, let me put it on the screen for you so you guys can go and check out Reasoning with Rattigan. You heard me? Shout out to Aromatic TV. Yes, guys, definitely go subscribe to Reasoning with Rattigan, all right? And go watch the video in full. This is the video right here. Did a day ago. All right, go and watch the video in full. All right. I gotta make sure I give the right royalties to the man. That's a lot of great content right there. All right, let me know what y'all think in the comment section.